Hi viewers, this is Jayaswamy, Assistant Professor of Zoology. Today we are going to discuss the functioning of human heart. Under this topic, we will go through types of hearts like myogenic hearts and the neurogenic hearts, heartbeat which deals with the systole and diastole, cardiac cycle, rhythmic systole and diastole, cardiac output, how much amount of blood that comes out per minute, and heartbeat rate, how many times heart beats per minute, stroke volume, how much amount of blood comes out from ventricles per beat, and cardiac cycle in detail, and finally the electrocardiogram and other abnormalities related to ECG or electrocardiogram. Let us start with the types of hearts. In general, due to the contraction of the cardiac muscles, the blood supplied to all the body parts and heart as well. It is shown by the heartbeat. During the contraction of heart, there are various electrical impulses that originated from the heart and they extended to continue the heartbeat. So that is, there is a special kind of electrical conduction system in the hearts of the individuals, and this requires the special kinds of cells which are present in the form of nodes at the specific locations of the heart. From these nodes, there are specific electrical impulses, electrical signals. They start the heartbeat. These clump of the specialized cells which starts the heartbeat, they form a particular structure which is known as a pacemaker, which is called as a pacemaker. So based on the kind of pacemaker which starts the heartbeat, the hearts are get divided into two types. Based on the pacemaker which starts the heartbeat, in all the kinds of animals, the hearts are get divided into two groups or two types, namely neurogenic hearts and the myogenic hearts. Neurogenic hearts, that is, the pacemakers are made up of neurons, neural cells. So that is, neuro means neuronal cells, nerve cells. Genesis means production of the contractional wave, production of the electrical impulse, which is responsible for the contraction of the heart, that is made by the neurons. So that in those animals, the hearts which have certain pacemakers which have been made up of neurons, they are known as the neurogenic hearts. Whereas the myogenic hearts, the pacemakers are made up of special kinds of muscle fibers. They formed into nodes and they initiate the electrical impulse to start the contraction of cardiac muscles. These are known as the myogenic hearts. Based upon the pacemaker, the hearts are get divided into two types, neurogenic hearts and the myogenic hearts. Let us see one by one. The neurogenic hearts. Neurogenic hearts are the hearts, otherwise the organisms which have the pacemaker which is made up of neurons. Pacemaker that is made up of neurons. That kind of hearts are present in the invertebrates except mollusca. Except the organisms of phylum Mollusca, remaining all the invertebrates which have the heart, they are belongs to neurogenic hearts. Neurogenic hearts. That means the pacemaker of these hearts is made up of neurons. And if you observe some of the organisms which have the neurogenic heart, the neurons are belongs to motor neurons, otherwise motor nerves. They are present outside the heart. For example, this is the lobster, this is the heart. If you observe the entire heart, the pacemaker is made up of motor neurons. Pacemaker made up of motor neurons, and this pacemaker located external to the heart, outside of the heart. And all the neurons, all the motor neurons which are located outside, they fuse to form a cardiac ganglia. They form a cardiac ganglia. And this cardiac ganglia located outside of the heart, and it stimulates and regulates the heartbeat of all the invertebrates except the molluscans, right? And out of these motor nerves or motor neurons, in the neurogenic heart, there are two kinds of cells. First kind of cells are known as the driver cells, and second kind of cells, they are known as the motor cells. Driver cells, they initiate, they start the heartbeat, they start the electrical impulses, then thereby the motor cells, they receives the information and spreads all over the heart, right? Now, if you observe the mechanism of action of neurogenic heart, experimentally it was proven that the stimulation and regulation of the neurogenic heart by the neurons, they were experimentally proven. How? If you take into consideration, we will take certain locations of the neurogenic hearts, that is the neuronal pacemakers, and we will frequently cool them and heat them. That is, we will raise the temperature at certain points of the neuronal pacemakers, and we will reduce the temperature at some points. That is, because of the gradual heating, gradual raise up in the temperature, gradual decrease in the temperature, thereby in accordance to the cooling and heating activities, there will be a change in the heartbeat rate. That is, according to the cooling and according to the raise up in temperature, there would be the decrease and increase of the heartbeat. That is experimentally proven in the neurogenic hearts. And if you observe furthermore, there are certain chemicals, neurotransmitters like the acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, it is a neurotransmitter which stimulates the heartbeat of the neurogenic hearts. Acetylcholine stimulates the heartbeat of neurogenic hearts. That accelerates the heartbeat, otherwise heart rate. Whereas adrenaline is another neurotransmitter which inhibits the heartbeat, otherwise the heart rate. That is, both of them, they have the opposite effect. Acetylcholine stimulates the heartbeat, whereas the adrenaline inhibitory, it shows the inhibitory effect, it inhibits the heartbeat. So the movements, otherwise heartbeat of neurogenic hearts, it is not at all constant, and it is always fluctuating. It is always fluctuating, the heartbeat rate, otherwise the heart beating in the neurogenic hearts, it is always fluctuating. So this kind of hearts are seen in most of the invertebrates except the molluscans. So this is all about the neurogenic hearts. Then coming to the myogenic hearts. In the myogenic hearts, the pacemaker is made up of special kinds of muscle fibers, so that it is known as the myogenic heart. Myo, then somewhat related to muscle fiber or myonemes. So these myonemes genesis produce the impulse, electrical impulse which is responsible for the contraction of the cardiac muscle. So that is present in the heart, so that it is known as the myogenic heart. So that the chordates and the molluscans of the invertebrates and chordates, they have the myogenic kind of heart. And in the case of human beings and the mammals, and we have two pacemakers. One is in the right auricle, just near to the one pair of precaval veins, that is known as the SA node, sino-auricular node, and another one near to the auriculoventricular septum, that is known as the AV node. Out of these two, the natural one and the normal one, the first pacemaker is the SCA node, sino-auricular node. So always the sino-auricular node starts the contraction impulse, and that is given to the AV node, and both of them they spread all over the heart. See here, we will observe this is the right auricle, and this is the location of the prevena cava or precaval veins. So near to the one pair of precaval veins, we will observe a node which is formed of the specialized muscle fibers, that is known as the sino-auricular node, SCA node, sino-atrial or sino-auricular node. This is the first pacemaker and the natural pacemaker. And second one is located near the auriculoventricular septum. This is the auriculoventricular septum, and near to the auriculoventricular septum we will find out the second pacemaker, which is known as the auriculoventricular node, atrioventricular node. That is, the impulse starts from the SCA node and spreads all over all the walls of the auricles, and also reaches the AV node. So after the contraction of the auricles, the AV node carries the impulse through the bundle of his, which passes through the interventricular septum, and that turns into U shape and goes into all the ventricular walls in the form of a network which is known as the Purkinje fibers. Thereby, the AV node carries the electrical impulse which is responsible for the contraction of the ventricles through the bundle of His, and as well as the Purkinje fibers into the ventricular walls. Right? And then, if you observe the effect of the various neurotransmitters like the acetylcholine, here acetylcholine has the inhibitory effect, whereas in the case of myogenic hearts it shows the excitatory effect, but in the case of human beings ACH shows inhibitory effect, whereas the adrenaline that shows stimulatory effect. ACH, acetylcholine, has inhibitory effect on the myogenic hearts, whereas adrenaline has stimulatory effect on the myogenic hearts. So the functioning of the myogenic heart, otherwise the functioning of the pacemakers, will be graphically shown in the case of ECG, electrocardiogram, by the PQRST waves. So we can also analyze them. So this will be discussed later on. So that is all about the neurogenic and the myogenic hearts. Let us discuss the heartbeat and the cardiac cycle. Heartbeat represents, that is the rhythmic contraction of the cardiac muscles. Rhythmic contraction means rhythmic contraction and the relaxation of the cardiac muscles. So in the given period of time, the heart undergo contraction and the relaxation. In general, The contraction of the heart is known as the systole, whereas the relaxation of the heart is known as diastole. Systole and the diastole, they happens alternatively and rhythmically in the given period of time. So in one heartbeat, one systole and one diastole are there. In a single heartbeat, one systole and one diastole are there. What happens during the systole is, during the systole there is a contraction of the chambers of the heart, thereby the blood pumped out. The time during the systole time, during the contraction time, that is blood pumped, whereas during the diastole time blood will be received by the chambers. Blood will be received by the chambers. So here the due to the alternative systole and the diastole, alternative and continuous systole and diastole is known as the cardiac cycle. Continuous, alternative systole and diastole, they are known as the cardiac cycle, right? Then if you see some of the terminology related to the heartbeat and cardiac cycle, here we will see heartbeat is nothing but the systole and diastole. Cardiac cycle is the alternative contraction and relaxation of the cardiac muscles, that is a alternative systole and alternative diastole of the cardiac muscles. And if you observe the stroke volume, what is the stroke volume is how much amount of blood which is pumped out by the heart from each ventricle per each beat. Each ventricle per each heartbeat. That is the stroke volume. That is, the stroke volume always approximately 75 ml. 75 ml of blood pumped out per each heartbeat. And cardiac output is the term which shows volume of blood pumped out by the heart from each ventricle per minute for 60 seconds. For 60 seconds. So that is, for 60 seconds we have the heartbeat of about 72. In the healthy adult individuals, the rate of heartbeat is 72 per minute. 72 times into 75 ml is the cardiac output. Cardiac output. See here, let us calculate cardiac output is equal to heart rate and stroke volume. What is the heart rate? Heart rate is the number of heartbeats per minute. Number of heartbeats per minute, that is 72. And stroke volume, how much amount of blood comes out from ventricle per beat. That is 75 ml. It is almost all 5400 ml per 1 minute time. So the total amount of the blood in the adult individuals of the human beings, it may be 5 to 6 liters, approximately 5.5. So this is 5.4 liters of blood pumped out per each and every minute. That indicates that entire blood which is present in the human body, that is, flows through the heart each minute. Simply for our convenience, we will declare like that. Then coming to the next one, the cardiac cycle. For our convenience, we have divided this into 4 phases. First one is the auricular diastole, followed by auricular systole, ventricular diastole, and the ventricular systole. Diastole represents the relaxation and systole represents the contraction of that particular chamber. So let us see one by one. So what happens in the auricular diastole is, let us see, this is the functioning of the heart. First of all, the auricles are in the relaxed condition. During this time, there are certain blood vessels which are opened into the both auricles. Let us discuss the right auricle. In the right auricle, there are two precaval veins which carry the impure blood from the upper parts of the body like the shoulders, arms and the head. They carry impure blood and released it into right auricle. So from the bottom side we have a inferior vena cava, otherwise post caval vein, that also carries the impure blood into the right auricle. So that overall, right from all the body parts, the impure blood carried into the right auricle through one pair of precaval veins, one post caval vein. At the same time, if you see the left auricle get connected through one pair of pulmonary veins, left pulmonary vein and the right pulmonary vein. So both these pulmonary veins, they carry pure blood from lungs to left auricle. Lungs to left auricle. Right? So during the diastole of auricles, what happens? The impure blood from all the body parts reaches the right auricle. Pure blood from lungs that reaches left auricle. Then come to the second step. What is the second step? That is the contraction of the auricles. Auricular systole. What happens in the auricular systole is, here as and when the auricles are filled up with the right auricle filled up with the deoxygenated blood, left auricle filled up with the oxygenated or pure blood. Now there is a impulse initiation from the cyanoauricular node, and this impulse transmitted throughout the auricles. The electrical impulse transmitted throughout the walls of the auricles, and thereby the auricular walls slowly contracts, and thereby the blood which is present in the right auricle that enters into the right ventricle through the opening of tricuspid valve, which is present at the right auriculoventricular aperture. These are the tricuspid valves. They open and thereby the impure blood from right auricle enters into the right ventricle. At the same time, the pure blood which is present in the left auricle that enters into the left ventricle through the left auriculoventricular septum, which is guarded by bicuspid valve, otherwise mitral valve. Due to the opening of this valve, the pure blood enters from left auricle into left ventricle. So during this time, the third step has been begun, that is the diastole of ventricles. So whenever there is a diastole of ventricles, due to the less pressure, the blood from right auricle to right ventricle and left auricle to left ventricle takes place. Right? Then coming to the fourth step, that is the contraction of the ventricles. Third step is the relaxation of the ventricles. What is the relaxation of the ventricle? Diastole of the ventricle. Whenever there is a relaxed state only, due to the contraction of auricles, the pure and impure blood, they enters into left ventricle and the right ventricle respectively. Okay. After the release of all the entire blood, as usually the bicuspid and tricuspid valves, they get closed. Okay, that is to inhibit the reversal of blood due to closure of the, what happens with the closure of the bicuspid and tricuspid valves is that prevents the re-entry of reversal of blood from ventricles to auricles. That is nothing but the third step, that is the relaxation of the ventricles, ventricular diastole. After the complete release of blood from left auricle to left ventricle, right auricle to right ventricle. There will be a closure of bicuspid valve and tricuspid valve at the respective apertures. So that leads to the sound which is known as lub. Lub sound is due to the closing of bicuspid valve and tricuspid valves. Bicuspid valve and the tricuspid valves which are present at the auriculoventricular apertures. Okay, bicuspid valve at the left auriculoventricular aperture, whereas the tricuspid valve at the right auriculoventricular aperture. This is the first sound which is made by the heart, lub. Right? Then coming to the fourth step, that is the ventricular systole. Now here again we have to see, as and when the electrical impulse initiated and extended from the sinoauricular node to all the walls of the auricles, and during this time the AV node which is located near to the auriculoventricular septum also receives the information, that is the electrical impulse. This electrical impulse passed to the walls of ventricles through the bundle of His and the Purkinje fiber network which is innervated into the muscles of the ventricles, and thereby due to the transmission of electrical impulse which is contraction in nature, so that the ventricle walls they get slowly contracted. During that time what happens, the blood which is present in the right ventricle, already we know that in the right ventricle impure blood is there. This impure blood sent into the pulmonary aorta, and that reaches lungs for the purification of the impure blood. Right ventricle consists the impure blood, deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood, due to the contraction of the ventricular walls, that enters into the pulmonary aorta and that reaches the lungs and supply the impure blood to the lungs for the process of oxygenation or purification of blood. At the same time, the pure blood which is present in the left ventricle, that forcibly pushed into the systemic aorta, which is turned to left in the mammals, that is known as a left systemic aorta, and this will be transported to all the body parts. So this region here we have the carotid arteries. So external internal carotid arteries, they transport the blood to all the head region, and here so it comes to downward, and the systemic aorta that transports the blood to all the body parts. So after the vacation, after the emptying of all the left ventricle and the right ventricle, okay, in order to stop the reflow, otherwise reversal of blood, there are three semilunar valves at the base of pulmonary aorta and as well as the systemic aorta. All of these three semilunar valves of the pulmonary aorta, three semilunar valves of the systemic aorta, which are present at the base of the respective aorta, they are being closed in order to stop the reversal of blood from all this aorta into their respective ventricles. That gives the dub sound. Lub sound is due to the closure of bicuspid and tricuspid valves, whereas the dub sound, it is due to the closure of three semilunar valves which are located at the base of pulmonary aorta and the systemic aorta. This is the second sound. Both these lub sound and dub sound, they may be listened by the stethoscope. The doctors, they were using the stethoscope to listen the lub and dub sounds. They are measured by the stethoscope, and there will be a electrical representation, graphical representation by the ECG, as we know. So that is, at the completion of all these four phases, that is, auricular diastole and the auricular systole, followed by ventricular diastole and the ventricular systole, right? Now for our convenience, so if you observe, the number of heartbeats per minute are 72 for 60 seconds, then it will be 0.8 seconds. 0.8 second means less than 1 second, not even 1 second. So that is, there are 60 seconds, but the heartbeat is of about 72. That it require, each beat require less than 1 second time. How much time it is? 0.8 seconds of time. For our convenience, this is very, very important, frequently asked in the competitive examinations. For our convenience, this 0.8 seconds is divided into 3 phases. Listen to me carefully. Here, first one is the auricular systole, which requires 0.1 second, and ventricular systole, it requires 0.3 seconds, whereas the cardiac diastole, the diastole of relaxation of the entire heart, it is 0.4. That is, auricular systole 0.1, ventricular systole 0.3 seconds, and total relaxation of the heart cardiac muscle, that is 0.4. Totally it is 0.8 seconds. Out of these 3 events, at least one will be asked in the competitive examination purpose. So let us assume that what is the time elapsed for the ventricular systole in the human beings. So they will give 0.1, 0.3, 0.4 and 0.8. So the correct option is 0.3 seconds. So like that, they may ask in the competitive examinations. So one heartbeat requires 0.8 seconds of time. So out of which it is divided into 3 phases. Auricular systole elapses 0.1 second, ventricular systole 0.3 seconds, and cardiac relaxation, that is total heart relaxation diastole, that is 0.4 seconds. We should remember this numerical data for the purpose of competitive examinations. So this is all about the heartbeat, right? Then, so let us see here the same diagram that represents the, here this is a right auricle, left auricle. So impure blood comes and that reaches the right ventricle, pure blood that reaches the left ventricle. So impure blood goes towards the lungs through the pulmonary aorta, whereas the pure blood that goes into the systemic aorta for the circulation of the body parts. So this is all about the heartbeat, functioning of the heart. There is a cyclic phenomena, contraction and relaxation of both auricles and ventricles happens alternatively, and that leads to the cardiac cycle. So it is a cyclic movement. Here you will observe auricular systole, okay, auricular diastole, ventricular systole, and the ventricular diastole, right? Then come to the measurement of the biological electrical impulses which are taking place within the human beings, otherwise in the cardiac muscles of the human beings, that is known as the ECG, electrocardiogram. So in some places it was also written as EKG, electrocardiogram. So frequently we use the term ECG, which represents electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram is a graphical representation of the biological electrical impulses which are taking place within the cardiac muscles of the heart. Okay, this is done by the electrocardiograph, the machine which is known as electrocardiograph. So we will keep 2 electrodes uh, on the body of the individual, that is the patient, and thereby we will identify the electric reactions and we will print them upon a graph paper. So otherwise we may show them on the cardiac monitor. So it is highly useful in order to detect different kinds of cardiac diseases and the diseases related to blood vessels. Okay, so it is a effective tool. ECG is an effective tool in order to understand the electrophysiology of the heart. For the first time, this electrocardiograph is printed by a scientist, Einthoven, the name of the scientist who first printed the graph on the graph paper. He has prepared a mission. He has prepared a printing mission to print the electrical impulses on a graph paper. Einthoven was a doctor, a scientist. Okay, and he has identified 5 points. He has identified 5 waves otherwise. Okay, these waves are known as P, Q, R, S and T. P, Q, R, S, T are the electrical waves which are identified by the Einthoven. So apart from this graph, the straight line and the distances in between P, Q, R, that gives the time elapsed to reach from one point to the another point by the electrical impulse. Okay, that is the distance in between all these points that shows the time. It is the measurement of time simply, and the upward deflections and the downward deflections, they show the upward and downward deflections, they measure the voltage otherwise. Okay, the gap among all these points, 5 points, is measuring the time, and upward and downward deflections, they measure the voltage. Let us see what is there in the ECG. See, if you take into consideration one single unit, it looks like this, which comprises 5 points, namely P, Q, R, S and T. What is the meaning of and what they are representing, the P, Q, R, S, T? Always the P represents the depolarization of the auricles. P represents the depolarization of the auricles. Wherever we use the term depolarization in the case of ECG, this shows the contraction. Depolarization in the case of ECG, if we use the term, this is nothing but the contraction. Here we use the depolarization of the auricles, that leads to the that means the contraction of auricles. P wave in the ECG, P wave shows the depolarization of the auricular muscles. That indicates that it shows the contraction of the auricular muscles. Okay, if at all it is irregular, if the P wave, if it is irregular, otherwise if it is not at all formed, then that may show the abnormal heartbeat, otherwise arrhythmia. Arrhythmia, absence of rhythm. Okay, otherwise irregular rhythm. So this is P. And if you come to the QRS complex, so all these 3 points together, we call it as the QRS. Okay, QRS, they dealt with the depolarization of the ventricle, that is contraction of the ventricle, otherwise systole of the ventricle. Okay, that is the contraction of left and right ventricle is represented by the QRS. Apart from this QRS, Q shows. Q represents the electrical waves which are taken place in the interauricular septum. Q represents the electrical waves of the interauricular septum, whereas the RS, R and S waves, they show the contraction state of the ventricle. If there are any disturbances, irregularities in the QRS wave, that shows the myocardial infraction, otherwise ventricular tachycardia. These are the various abnormalities of the heart. And if you come to the T represents the repolarization of the heart, repolarization of the ventricles. T wave represents the repolarization of the ventricle. Whenever we use the term repolarization, this shows the diastole or relaxation of the ventricles. Depolarization, it represents contraction or systole, whereas repolarization, that deals with the diastole or relaxation of the muscles. Always the T, if it is the basic line, okay, if it is 0, it is always should be positive, +1, +2, like this. Always the T wave should be a upward deflection. T should be upward deflection always. If at all it is negative, it becomes like this. If at all it is negative, then thereby something is wrong with the heart. Okay, otherwise it may be due to the electrolyte imbalance. Either whether there is any disturbance in the T wave, it should be always upward deflection as the positive. If at all whether there is any difference in the T wave, that may be due to the electrolyte imbalance. And we will also see the distances in between. If you observe the PR interval, what is the PR interval? So at the P, here it is the initiation of the electrical impulse from the SA node. Okay, so whenever it reaches the R, so middle of the Q and S, if it is here, okay, so what it represents? PR interval, that is the time which has been taken for the electrical impulse to reach from sino-auricular node to auriculoventricular node. The time elapsed for the electrical impulse to reach from sino-auricular node to auriculoventricular node. That is, here there is a SA node and here there is a AV node. So how much time it has been taken will be shown the interval of the P and Q. P and here P and Q, it is the PQ interval that shows the time elapsed for the electrical impulse to reach from sino-auricular node. And if you come to the second one, that is the PR. If it is PR segment, otherwise PR interval, it shows the time elapsed for the electrical impulse to reach from sino-auricular node to ventricles. And if you see the ST segment, ST interval, it shows the isoelectric point, that is, it shows the resting position of the ventricles. PQ, it shows the time elapsed for the electrical impulse from sino-auricular node to auriculoventricular node. And PR, it shows the time elapsed for the electrical impulse from sino-auricular node to the ventricles. and ST interval that shows the isoelectric point of the ventricles, that is the relaxation position of the ventricles. And usually, so here we will see atrial depolarization means contraction of auricles, ventricular depolarization, ventricular systole, ventricular contraction, and ventricular repolarization means that is diastole of ventricles. Okay, here it is shown clearly in the P wave. It is only restricted to cyanoauricular node, emergence, initiation of the signal and transportation. And QRS, it deals with the contraction of the ventricles. And T wave, okay, it is the relaxation of the ventricles and the heart. Here we will see this graph shows the normal heartbeat. So this graph shows the fast heartbeat and it is slow heartbeat. It is somewhat irregular heartbeat. So here there is a explanation about all these points. P, what is indicating the P, and what is QRS, what is Q, and what is RS, what is T, followed by what is PQ interval, and what is PR interval, and what is ST interval. So PQ is a time elapsed for the distribution of contraction wave from SCA node to AV node, and PR, that is time elapsed for the distribution of contraction wave from AV node to ventricles, and ST, it is the relaxation of ventricles, otherwise we can also call it as the isoelectric point. Isoelectric point. In general, ECG is extensively used in the field of medicine, medical physiology. So especially in the case of myocardial infarction, that is a heart attack, ventricular hypertrophy, or mitral stenosis, okay, electrolyte imbalance, all these are identified by the ECG. So it is highly useful to identify the differences among the normal heartbeat and as well as the abnormal heartbeat. Then if you see the little extension about the ECG, arrhythmia. Rhythm means there is a systematic heartbeat. Rhythm means systematic heartbeat. Arrhythm means abnormal heartbeat. The heartbeat in some situation it is irregular. This is nothing but the arrhythmia, otherwise dysrhythmia. The general heartbeat, systemic heartbeat is known as the sinus rhythm. That is normal sinus rhythm. If at all it is any difference, if there is any difference, that is known as the arrhythmia, otherwise dysrhythmia. Apart from this abnormal heartbeat, we will usually see the bradycardia and the tachycardia. What is bradycardia is, in the Latin language, brady means slow or delay. Brady means slow or delay in the heart. Cardia means heart. Okay, brady, slow, cardia, heart. Slow heart. That is, whenever the individual suffering due to the bradycardia, the heartbeat rate is always less than 60. Right? So then it may be happened due to those individuals who are suffering from bradycardia, the heartbeat rate is less than 60 per minute. Right? Now, what are the reasons for the bradycardia? So this is somewhat the graphical representation of all different kinds of abnormalities. So there is not even a single is ECG with the normal sinus rhythm. And what is the bradycardia? It is a slow. If you observe the ECG graph, so there is a delay from one heartbeat to the another heartbeat. One heartbeat to the another heartbeat. There are three main reasons which causes the bradycardia. Number one is the failure of SCA node. Failure of the SCA node. Thereby, there are no impulses, electrical impulses arise from the SCA node, and thereby there is no heartbeat. So very delayed heartbeat. And second thing is heart blocking of heart. So that is, although there are signals from the pacemaker, they may not distributed to the ventricles, and thereby there is no contraction in the ventricle, and thereby there will be a prohibition or inhibition of circulation to the body parts. Okay, and third point is the inefficient working of the thyroid gland, hypothyroidism, that may also lead to the bradycardia. So here there are different kinds of reasons. And what are the symptoms basically? So here there is a lightheadedness or dizziness, fatigue, easy fatigue, fainting, dyspnea, chest pain or discomfort, and almost all in the confusion state. So this bradycardia may not be cured with the medicine, but by changing the pacemaker we can cure this bradycardia. So this is very easy to install an artificial pacemaker with the normal pacemaker, and thereby we can increase our efficiency in exercise and as well as the physical work. So this is about the bradycardia. And coming to the tachycardia. Tachy means in the Latin language it is swift, very fast, swift heart. Tachycardia means swift heart. Okay, now what happens, the heart beats very fast and the heartbeat rate is greater than 100 to 150. So sometimes it is slightly faster. This may be due to the anger, over happiness, smiling, and the anxiety. They may cause the embarrassing moments, they cause the tachycardia. And sometimes it may be due to the overactivity of the thyroid gland. Okay, and due to the different disturbance in the distribution of impulse from the sinoauricular node to auriculoventricular node, they may all cause the tachycardia. It is again divided into two kinds. One is the supraventricular tachycardia, where the supraventricular means in the auricles, it happens in the auricles. There is a overspeed. The heartbeat of the auricles, beat of the auricles is of about 150 to 250 per minute. So that leads to the palpitations of the heart, dizziness, chest pain, and difficulty in the breathing. Okay, so this is due to the short circuits of the conduction system of the heart. Okay, it is usually frequently happening, so that is known as a paroxysmal ventricular supraventricular tachycardia. Okay, so supraventricular tachycardia is always due to the disturbances in the auricles. And the second kind is the ventricular tachycardia, VT. It is due to the speed contraction of the cardiac ventricles, and the contraction of the ventricles is not under the control of the SCA node. So during this season, that is in the ventricular tachycardia, the contraction and relaxation of these ventricles is not under the control of the SCA node. So the portions other than the SCA node, the portions of the heart, the parts of the heart other than the SCA node, they release the electrical impulses, and thereby they may not reach in an appropriate way, so that is not under the control of the SCA node, so that the heartbeat takes place very fast. So sometimes we feel that skipping some beats. So due to the high speed, there will be a dizziness and the lightheadedness, okay, breathlessness. These are the symptoms of the tachycardia. These are the symptoms of the tachycardia. Heartbeat irregularity, sensations in the chest, fatigue, lightheaded or shortness of the breath, fainting, and other severe symptoms may be happen in the case of ventricular tachycardia. Tachycardia is two types: supraventricular tachycardia, that is the disturbance in the auricles, and the ventricular tachycardia, that is disturbance in the ventricles. So these are all about the functioning of the heart and measurement of the functioning of the heart through the ECG. And one more thing, some of the times the special days they may be asked in the competitive examination. So 29th September of every year is treated as the World Heart Day. World Heart Day. So this is all about the functioning of the heart and related issues like the ECG and the abnormalities of the heartbeat. Thank you.